to the recording. So, welcome to the Pork and Bean Show, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
While we were warming up, uh, she just started talking about this story where a giant Sasquatch just walked across her back porch,
And my
right?
front porch.
Front
Yeah,
porch
front
with
porch.
the
I
big
forgot about.
sliding glass doors and everything.
Well, I live in a mountainous area. It's a chalet style home, and the front door is fairly flat. It looks like a salt box house. It doesn't, you can't see the chalet windows there. So the porch starts in the front, the deck porch, and then it goes wraps around the other side where I do have two sliders, two big sliders, and the chalet windows above that. So that's the impressive side. They put the impressive side facing the side because that's where the mountain view is. So if you pull up to my house, it doesn't look like much at all. Just a plain little salt box where the roof ends at the door, period. No overhang, anything. So I'm thrilled to have the house we have. It actually was held for us to buy. Nobody looked at it. Nobody wanted it because it didn't have much appeal from the road. No curb appeal at all. And even I thought, oh, this isn't pretty. It's just very simple and plain. And we've changed a little bit of that. We added a porch over that door, and it changed the whole look of the house. So that was the Sasquatch had been on my deck, and I was in the front room where I could see him. My front door has a full glass view, like a storm door. And I just happened to lift my chin up and saw movement. And I didn't know what it was because it was so tall that the door cut it off from shoulders up. So I wasn't sure what I was seeing.
You mean his head and shoulders were above the door?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. At his shoulders on up, I could not tell what he was. And I didn't know if it was a being of light, a being of dark. I don't get scared of these things. I get curious instead. So I sat down and I tried to pick up all the details I could remember, and the swing of the arm, that that very swing of that arm that they have, very, very Sasquatch. No other creature swings their arms when they walk like he does. And so he left the deck, and I went, I just had an experience, and he showed himself purposely. So I was so excited. I was so excited. I didn't know what to do yet. I had too many questions. So I started, well, where do I find questions answered? I didn't want the typical Facebook Sasquatch group. I needed something that would teach me how to become part of the community here with Sasquatch. And 10 years prior to that, I had gotten hooked into a YouTube channel of a young man who did not own the property he was going to camp in. His friend gave him permission. It was an open camp area, and it had a cabin for bad weather. And I got hooked into this story because he was trying to befriend Sasquatch. It was the first time I heard about gifting trees from his videos. And he would bring gifts, put it at the tree, and Sasquatch would return the favor of other gifts that would leave it on his bumper, his car seat, just in different places where he couldn't miss it. And he kept coming back, and the relationship grew. And then winter came. So he left the door open in the cabin and an invite. And on the table in the cabin, he put paper, drawing crayons and such. And his gifts were on the table for Sasquatch. So he drew the first picture for Sasquatch and left it there. And Sasquatch even brought a little one with him, and they would draw together. So we would get two types of pictures from them. And I just became enchanted. I just became so enchanted. So I lived in a woody area, Fairfax County in Northern Virginia, where it's part of that DC thing that's separate, goes out to Maryland, DC, and Virginia with all the government stuff. And it's not an easy place to live in if you're energy sensitive. But we found a house that was surrounded by woods, a creek, and wildlife, and my meadow in the backyard. Oh no.
How
I
long
don't,
ago was it? How long ago was it when he walked on your
we
deck?
had just, it's been about a year now.
Oh, okay. So this is kind of
And
recent for
and
you.
one of your members on the group, I knew her of her. I hadn't met her in person, but I contacted her on Facebook. I said, "This is what I had happen. I'm excited. I don't know what to do from here." She says, "Join Pork and Beans." So that's how I found you guys. And it's
That's actually good
fantastic.
advice because
Yeah,
Pork
it
and
was the
Beans is
best
loaded with
advice.
people who are friendly.
Yeah. What's also been very um educational. There was this, I haven't seen her since, but early on in my watching you guys, um, a psychic, and she works with dowsing rods. I don't remember her name. And somebody had bought them, and she communicates with Sasquatch with these dowsing rods.
Oh, I
So I,
remember her. I don't think she's part of our group, but I remember her. She's got amazing stories.
yes, yes, and they go out in the woods with many gifts, toys and bright balls, and puts them out there. And her my favorite one was, I've saved the video because I wanted to go back and learn how to communicate with them. And I'm a dowser. I'm a trained dowser too. So working with the rods and pendulums or something I've done very, very successfully. So I've been out there talking to them. I've been trying to do the mind speak, but um, I feel there's still some distance between us yet. They're still getting to know me and my heart, um, and I put out the invite. I found out there's two watchers, and but what my go back to that video. I was 10 years ago. I got so excited about this video, I made myself a basket of stuff. It was drawing materials. I had a drawing of him and me in this drawing with hearts connecting with energy. I drew I left drawing materials in the basket, and every morning I checked that basket. This went on for about 2 months, and I decided I just live in a community, so maybe it's too congested for him. So I gave up. I It wasn't going to happen, and I was a little disappointed, but it is what it was. So I took the basket down, and as I took the basket down, I had a vocalization come from the woods. It was Sasquatch. He had been there all along. He knew. So he let me know he had noticed, but it was too congested, I guess. Maybe I wasn't ready. Who knows? But here he showed himself much closer. And I'm in a community again. It is a mountainous community, but they're by lots. I have a half an acre. And the road is heavily traveled in front of my porch, my front door. Um, Lots of Airbnb traffic. So I love it here. And the community is good because I'm getting older. We shouldn't be so isolated. So it works for us. But the most recent thing happened that got me so excited. We've been through a lot of heat here, a lot of dryness, not very much rain. It's mountainous, so we don't have soil, we have rock. My house sits on a rock shelf. And so there's not dirt here. And the dirt's important to know about because he visited me on my deck again while I was sleeping. And he went to the sliders side of the house, the two sliders. And I think he was trying to impress upon me how tall he was, because I think he's concerned that I might be scared. I'm not scared. He won't frighten me if I come to him, see him in his personality fully. I would not be afraid. But I came down the steps and looked up at those windows and said, "Oh, what is that on the window?" He had gone in the back. We have a small creek and gotten creek mud. There's no creek mud in my yard, and it's the only available wet source for creek mud in the area. So he had gone down and gotten some creek mud and reached up taller than my sliders by 2, maybe 3 feet, and he had the mud cupped in his hand and pressed it onto the glass. You can see the spread of the fingers of the print of the mud and the wrinkles in the heel of his hand where the mud had seeped in and made the little cracks that show in that imprint.
That's amazing.
I've got chills sharing this story. I can't believe he went to that trouble. And I have Airbnb people next door. That's not going to stop him. That's kind of a message I got too. And I am just floored. So, um, I, I'm still growing with this with him. Gone out. I started singing to him, and I can't sing. I can't hold a tune. Tone deaf. All the gifts I have, I didn't get this one. And so I started singing, um, I believe in magic. I believe in you. Just something silly, childlike, and I sing it over and over. Then I started making other add-ons to it. I believe in friendship. I'll give one to you. You know, that I believe in you. I just kept singing over and over, hoping, and then he makes that imprint.
That
So
makes sense to me.
I want it closer and personal. I'm not gonna be afraid, and I would respect and protect this. It's too precious. And I
Yeah,
waited.
it is. Yeah.
It
And you keep saying you live in a community. It doesn't make any difference if you have someone right up next to you. If they want you to see them, you will see them and nobody else will.
That is so cool. I love
So,
Oh,
you
wow.
know, don't even, entertain the thoughts that they're not going to interact with you because other people are around. They can do pretty much whatever they want to do, um, when it's their choice to interact with you. How many times do you hear people say, you've got 3 people and they're out, and maybe 2 people hear something and the other doesn't hear anything? Well, there could be different reasons for that. But number 1, your heart's already open, so they're not even having to be concerned about that with you. They already know you, they know everything about you, who you are, what you think, all of
Uh-oh.
this. They they
They,
knew that
they
before.
got you. They got you to come on the Pork and Bean show. How'd they do
Yeah.
that?
So,
My story
yeah.
is so small compared to all your other guests. I'm just a beginner. And I'm ready. I have been for a while, but it's their decision. I would never be
Yeah.
pushy or demanding. I've got one of the gifts of patience. I'm very stoic and I can wait. I'm excited to think about it happening. But he wanted to teach me he's big. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Don't be. He could have, and I have cameras all around the house, and I have to. The neighborhood is a resort area. We're not part of the resort. We came for the mountains and the wildlife and adventures that type. And so, it's um, we're not the typical people sitting here that come here usually to buy. They're from where we lived, surrounded that every community had all government, military, all that energy all around. It was so hard for me to move into Virginia because the minute I've crossed that river, I said, "Oh, this is going to be a challenge." The energy was not, and I said, "Okay, I'll be one of the first then, and see what seeds I can plant."
Oh,
So, and I've worked hard at it too. Like we put our house up for sale. One of the realtors that was interested in buying it herself said to the my realtor said, something about that house, just something about that house. So she must be sensitive because I've done a lot of spiritual work in that house. I've had clients come through for regressive work, for Reiki, for whatever they need. And it was a busy house. And it's been my joy to, for all the energy in that area, I was able to get clients that were open enough that I could work with. That was a gift. It was wonderful.
Well,
And
I think, in my opinion, that your sensitivity, your spirituality, and your intent to heal, your abilities to heal, that puts you on the Sasquatch radar a long time ago. It could have been
oh,
10 years that they were watching you, and then it could have been them that maneuvered you to this particular little house.
Yep.
That's because that's more the way they work, and
Mhm.
which means they're on their side, they've already established a relationship with you, and you haven't really felt out the full depth of it yet. But I think that'll come, in little bits and pieces.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You can already see it, that that it's there. Um, and as far as being new, we love to hear newbies. We love it because that says somebody planted a seed somewhere, and we get to see the growth of that seed.
Yeah.
And
And I
that's
have, since I've joined your group, it's been by leaps and bounds between that the I have a pouch I take out on the porch each morning with my dowsing rods and my pendulum. I ask their names. I have one that has ABCs and numbers on the pendulum chart. So they're giving me little hints, but not fully yet. And that's okay. I've got all the time in the world. And to be a newbie at anything as a grandmother, great grandmother, what a gift is that?
yeah, yeah.
What a gift that is. To be a newbie at anything, especially something so rare and special as a relationship with these forest people. I see them as
And
being,
you're a shaman.
yeah, I
And
am
now we
a
got two
Peruvian.
shamans here,
Yeah, I'm Peruvian trained, not native to America. And I
and Mr.
chose
Bean, two
Peru.
shamans and a bean.
Yeah.
No, stop that. Did you know that beans are the number one thing people should have to lower their cholesterol? So there you go.
I
See how
agree.
important you are?
I feel
Yes,
it. Yeah,
and
that was
beans are great because they last forever. You can keep them in your
Yep,
pantry and you don't have to
yep,
worry about them expiring. And they're seeds, so in the pinch you can grow more.
yes.
well. Talk about shaman. I've never had a shaman experience in my life, except when I first got in contact with the Sasquatch people. I just was told by Thomas Hughes, if you remember him. I was
Mhm.
told by Thomas Hughes to just go out my front door and say, I want to be friends. Hi, Sasquatch, I want to be friends. He said, do that every day for a week or two and see what happens. And I did. And these two little Mexican guys came and got me and took me out from Florida all the way out to somewhere in the Midwest where there's big red rocks. And they had me talk to this rock god for 3 hours all night. I was talking to him all night. And then the rock god talked to me again for 4 more days. It had more to finishing up his thing. So that was a shamanic experience. So now we got
That's
It was.
awesome.
now we got
That's
three
awesome.
shamans here.
Yeah, I'm Peruvian
I'm not
trained. Peru never had the broken teachings for their beliefs and practices. And actually, I would have preferred a native, and it's hard to find someone that will take a little white girl and teach all their little secrets and trust her. It's hard. So it's a base layer, and you become your own practice. It's through you it comes. So learning about it's only part of it. It's growing into what you are in that teaching. So it doesn't matter where you learn, it'll come to you if you need it.
Yep.
So I learned that. I met a lot of nice people. I met some beautiful Peruvian shamans that came to teach themselves and heal and teach the levels that the teachers don't have the experience being born into this, but they're losing their acolytes, their apprentices. They don't feel it's important in this world, and their prophecy even says so, that their bird is the condor, ours is the eagle, and it's always been known that the condor and eagle will fly together, and the new shamans are
And
going
they
to come,
are.
and the new shamans are
They are. Yeah.
yes,
And
yeah,
they have been. There's been openings over the last uh several years. There different things have been happening with the eagle and the condor. Um Chief Phil, he travels a lot
oh,
here and from the United States, and he goes all around the world. Some of the grandmother Flor de Mayo is a Curandissimo from Guatemala.
yes,
And then let's see, grandmother Julieta was from Oaxaca, and she was very much a shaman and worked with Santos Niños. And there are so many elder teachers out there now
nice,
um, that are around the world. All of the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers
absolutely,
were and are uh, very shamanistic and very much teachers and openly teach. And they're from the United States, they're from Gabon, the Amazon, they're from Tibet, all different places, around the world. And we've lost some of them,
oh,
but there are many who are still out there teaching and openly teaching us how to see who we are, which is very much what the Sasquatch people teach too, is to help
exactly,
us
exactly,
understand who we are.
yeah,
And, it, I get so excited. I mean,
I
when
got
I,
you.
when I'm talking to people and things like this, and then we find what you classify as a newbie, it's like, oh boy, here comes some of the ice cream on the cake. Here we
Oh,
go. And so, yeah, we're very glad that you said that you would come on.
oh, well, thank you. It's all about building building blocks for your soul. They're already in place, but it's awakening. Get each little block to go brilliant and like lighting candles on that birthday cake you mentioned. Each block needs to be brilliant, and then the next one, next one, next one. The next thing you know, that you've got this illumination that you can't contain. It's bigger than you are. Well, you are bigger than you are. So it talks truth about that brilliant light, illumination. People think it's all inside. It affects everything you touch.
It
Your
does.
path behind you have lighted footprints,
Yeah.
just as Jesus does. His footprints are still brilliantly bolded, and you can find them if you look for them. For each illuminated soul. It's not just Jesus, it's Buddha, it's all of them,
Yeah.
all the great masters. And they're all,
How did you, excuse me, how did you start this life?
I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and I'm not sure. I've had experiences since I was born. I remember sitting as an infant in my mom's kitchen sink being bathed. And I'm looking out the window at a magnolia because we're in Georgia. a magnolia bloom, and I was transfixed by it. And I was talking to this blossom in baby talk. And I realized then, I was realized even at that moment, realized, not, that's a weird word. I knew who I was and where I had to be. My teacher for the regression work is Dolores Cannon, and I do hypnosis to get clients to go where they want to go and need to go. And she visited me in spirit, and I could see her. I work on a Reiki table with a beautiful memory mattress on it to make it more comfortable, so I can take it down. I have other clients do other stuff, so I need the room. And she was sitting at the head of the table I was working with this client, sitting where there was no stool, no chair for her to sit on. And the client's voice comes out with this message that Dolores is sending her. And she, as her words come out of her mouth, I hear Dolores echo those same words. And after her message to the client was done, she turned to me. Many of us that are students call her Mama D. She uses this finger a lot. And she did that. And Mama D gave me that finger and says, now you have grabbed every step on your path that was put there for you. You didn't miss one. I just was in awe for her to say that, but you need to work a little bit on your heart. And I said, thank you. I will do that. And off she went. It was beautiful. But to have her tell me that those footprints were agreed upon by contract by your own soul. Of course, you don't remember it. So the challenge is once you get here, where do I go? What do I do? And I just did what was natural. It's, you can't let your funds stop you. If your heart tells you you need this, and there's going to be something special for you if you listen and do as the heart guides you, can't let anything stop you. If you have a partner that doesn't understand and feels abandoned because you're off doing a workshop or learning from this great teacher, or sitting someplace in a sacred, like Sedona, and sitting there at the creek meditating, you don't want to miss those things. You don't want to give them up for anything. And that's what's gotten me here, and it's what's kept me sane. It's been a challenging journey, as it should be. The more challenging, the more shiny your soul's going to be.
Yeah. Coming in and just sliding through the life doesn't teach you much at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it is those obstacles or what we see as problems that when we open up to them, then we begin to understand the why.
Yes.
This is something I wanted. This is something I asked for. Now, did I ask for hardships specifically? No. I
No.
asked that my soul would grow in
Yeah.
this lifetime and that I would understand about love and what love, really is. We have our own ideas of what love is.
Mm.
But that soul contract that we do in the beginning is such a wonderful thing. And it speaks to, okay, what do we want to do this time? And if you want to slide through life without any bumps or anything else, then yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is possible.
But those bumps you're expressing and those hardships, all there needs to be is a tiny shift, and you won't see them as hardships.
Nope, not at all.
It's I
Yep.
had a person ask me, what would you change in your life? I've had trauma. My family lineage curse is pedophilia, and it's at worst form. It took manifestation in my family's life. and it continues. I was going to be that lioness where it was going to stop.
Yeah.
And guess what? One of my own children perpetuates it. I what, you know? So what do you do with all these obstacles is, oh, I see you've got a path you've chosen for yourself. And I know already these were soul contracts between whatever.
Yep.
And I'm not angry. I
Yeah.
don't judge. I sit back like the wise woman that I'm growing to be, like you. You're a good example for that wise woman. And let them figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And everything we go through, all of these bumps and everything else that we see as a negative is such a positive, because if we allow ourselves to see them for what they truly are, then we have been given the gift to help someone else
Yes.
who has to go through those things, because we know we know what that feels like, and it gives you more insight to help someone,
Yes.
because you have the actual
Yes.
understanding
Yes.
of it.
Yes. I've gotten to a place of wisdom finally, and I see truth. It's all love. Even that nasty word, it's all about love. And when you see it as nothing else and disguised in a nasty way, even what people call demons, I already know it's love. Whatever it is in front of you, it comes from a place of love. It would not be here on this earth and supported our needs. It's all to support our needs for soul growth, period. It's not going to harm you if you have that belief that it won't harm me. It will teach me. There's a difference. It will teach me. That teachers come in every form.
Oh, they do.
Every
Definitely.
form, every form.
Definitely.
And I love it. I gobble it up like dessert. I just gobble it up like, because I sit back and go, wow, look at that. Look
Yeah.
at that. That's beauty right there.
And that's where our soul growth takes this huge leap of understanding that this thing that has hurt me in my perception
yes,
has actually been something that now I have the gift to help someone else and to understand what it is that they're going through.
yes,
And
yes.
that is such a gift. My niece, my sister's daughter, passed when she was 18 from
Aw,
cancer. And of course, I was there during the whole thing with my sister and my niece, and um, we talked quite a bit after. And I told my sister, I said, everything she stood for shines through you. And there are going to be people that are going to find you
mhm.
that need you and what you experienced. Now, she's a cosmetologist and she does a lot of hair. A lot of people come in, and that's typically a place where women, especially,
Yes.
will, you talk, you're comfortable, uh, and she always has a picture of my niece, Michelle, up there with the other kids. And, just small talk. Oh, she's so pretty. And, Julie will say, that's Michelle. I lost her when she was 18 to cancer. And the look on the people's face will be, I lost this person, my child, my sister, whatever, to cancer too when they were very young. And so Julie now gets to exercise that gift that was horrendous at the
Oh,
time it was happening.
yes.
And that's happening to people all over. And they're planting seeds every time they talk about that or help someone through something.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're doing. That's what Bean does.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yes.
And many others, we're planting seeds, and we're in such an awesome time where we are actually getting to see some of those seeds grow.
Well, there's a new earth coming. That's my teacher's belief system. Learned from her stories and her 18, 19 books she's written are all from her clients. And she collaborated the stories to like the women that walked with Jesus or um, Nostradamus. That's another one. But all of her, the wave of volunteers. And we volunteered for this. Can you imagine that? Of course we did. Of course we did. How could we not? But this is the grandest adventure. And she claims that Earth is the master school of the universe. There's no other place that you can do what you can do here. And they're lined up past the
Oh,
next universe to be here and experience all these
oh,
things.
Mhm.
So
oh, yeah, definitely. It's why I keep coming back
yeah,
as this human, is because I have that love of humanity and seeing this new earth and the birthing of this that's happening.
yes.
And yeah, like I said, I just get excited
I
and
know.
get happy thinking about
Same
it.
thing for here. Yep. And people think, oh my goodness, what's wrong with that lady? She doesn't understand. Look at this political environment. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Dying's not so bad. I wouldn't do it voluntarily, maybe like the yogis,
Well,
with
that reminds me of a question I wanted to ask you about that very topic. Is that, this quantum healing, hypnosis healing, and past life regression, all that stuff, um, it has a side effect, and that side effect is that the only way that works is if you're immortal. And I'm just wanted to ask you, how many of your people walk away with a little light bulb on saying, I'm immortal? Because I think that none of them do. It just slips in and they begin to live their life as if they were immortal.
I think in the
But they
back.
don't really say, oh, well, who are you? I'm immortal, right? They don't say that. So what is your take on that?
I think every client that comes to me is already a fan of Dolores and they're aware of that. I don't know because that my referrals come from her website, and I have a secondary BQH also. Dolores doesn't allow. She was so good and so expanded in her thinking, but she didn't trust digital. And we we actually record sessions if the recorder works. The energy sometimes can interfere,
Oh,
and but she won't allow us to do video regressions. She won't allow it. So I had to take a secondary course that certified me to do video. She kept her reel to reel recorder. She didn't use a digital one. It had tape in those reels, and she didn't trust the system basically. And she
That's a
went,
very Sasquatch trait.
"Oh, that's it, Steve."
Not
Oh,
trusting the digital, not trusting the
well, I think they have reason to feel that
record it with magnetic recording.
I think they have reason to worry. Yeah, because the more people see pictures that are really good ones, and I've read some of the posts on y'all's site, how they're similar to the Amish people. We're just south of Pennsylvania, and my kids, we spent a lot of time with the Amish up in Pennsylvania. They don't allow photos for that same reason. They feel a piece of their soul goes with that photo. So I don't blame them. And who's to say that's not incorrect? I mean, having an image of you out for anyone to see makes you vulnerable. I mean, we're doing it all day long on Facebook and other places, but we're not thinking about the repercussions of how fine our soul is being spread for others to use, not necessarily to benefit or to grab some wisdom. That's what I use Facebook for. Almost all my people on my Facebook, I have almost 5,000 friends and another 1,000 followers, and I'm just me. I'm not looking to get famous. I've done that in my optical world. I was an optician. I was all about vision. all about seeing. And I was very well known in my community, and I was teaching. I was going to the expos and teaching and different ways of being an optician and looking outside the box. And I have 40 years at it. And you get into this mode of locked into a form that doesn't give you freedom to think, to be, to grow. And some people find it scary to grow because I won't be me anymore, right? Well, I haven't explored who me is yet. I'm still not finished.
Well, also a lot of times when we were growing is when trauma happened. So no, stop doing that. You can't. You're making too much noise. Go. You can't go outside. You got to go to your room. All these kind of negative messages came when they expressed exuberance of trying something new, doing something, adventuring. So yeah, there's a lot of people are traumatized when you hear something new. They go, "Oh well, I might get punished for that."
Well, I don't worry about punishment. We create. My father had. It was a very exuberant disciplinarian. We had a thick leather belt he named Itchy Pete. Itchy Pete hung over the doorknob to the bathroom. We had to go by it every day, several times a day. And he'd threaten you. Itchy Pete's itching to get you. And once he got you, those welts itched too. And so, my dad I was 3 years old and I don't know what I did. I think it had something to do with a fib, maybe one of my first. And he gave me a choice. You can have Itchy Pete, hot pepper on your tongue, or sit on your little stool in the corner. They were all horrible. Isolation for me was very hard. Now it's the most comfortable thing in the world. But then it was isolation. It was so difficult. The corner, nope, nope, nope. Oh my goodness, hot pepper on the tongue. Oh my, that was pain. And he ended up giving me all three because I couldn't make up my mind. What a gift he gave me because I don't hesitate now. One time it took. So he taught me a valuable lesson. But that's trauma to a child. We don't understand there's a gift in it too. And that's not taught. We're taught and threatened. And that if you don't, Itchy Pete.
Yeah,
But
that's not funny. And your dad was an asshole.
actually he was an interesting guy.
And
Um,
that's where you follow his generational trauma on back.
oh, I know a lot of it.
There's actual face-to-face trauma, and then
Yeah.
there's an atmosphere of trauma.
Yeah.
Like
Energy. It's energy.
when Arla was talking about the girl who had cancer at 18. When you have cancer at 18, that's generational trauma. There's like these two things. There's the flashcard that you get when you're in trauma, your dad's spanking you, whatever that's it, right? But then there's also this atmosphere. And the atmosphere is of the harsh reality or the uh,
Yeah.
heartlessness in a family or the whatever the adversity is.
Do you know that was the last time he hit me? It obviously affected him.
Yeah.
And he came from a very harsh German background, very
Oh, yeah.
harsh. And during the Depression, he was given a dime. His parents uh, weren't there anymore. He was an orphan, he and his brother. And his one set of grandparents took him, and the brother went to a factory as a child to work. And he was given a dime, last dime in the house to go to the general store or wherever to get something, flour or whatever. He jumped fences and he ran as fast as he could, knowing he'd have to get back quick. And he lost a dime. Well, he was punished similarly. So he did what he knew. And
Yeah.
Yep.
it's
That's it.
generational. It's generational. So I knew some of his stories. Some he wouldn't share. So I knew my father pretty well. And I forgave him ages ago.
You know, the other thing I wanted to like bring up is this is how easy it is to heal. And when you take people to a past life regression or someplace that they needed to know, someplace they needed to go, it's phenomenal to me how easy it is to just review that and do just a few simple words and a few simple gestures that the people go through that they're while they're in a state, and then that whole thing just is gone. It
Yeah,
dissolves, it melts. Something
exactly.
happens to it, but it no longer has that punch in the gut
Mm.
feeling to it anymore.
Yes, exactly. It is because I developed a questionnaire, and I need to know what their soul questions are. You know, I had soul questions coming into your group, and I didn't even know what they were yet because I wanted to communicate and commune and establish relationship with this beautiful forest people. I was excited, but that has to come on his permission too. That's not me coming in invading space to not allow that permission to be part of it is not good. But thing is, you can have past life regression happen spontaneously. I've had at least four, and there's more than that. I just, the more significant ones came to me where all of a sudden I'm in another place. I look different. I'm with same people that are here in this life, but they look different. They're playing different roles in that lifetime. I'm playing a different role by agreement, all our soul contracts. And the one that created me the most harm in this life, after 4 or 5 remembrances on my own before I even became a student of Dolores Cannon's, we were in the ethers, sitting on something I couldn't see, ready to come back in here. And he asked if I would come back with him again and see what we could do to repair all this. And of course, no problem, I said. No problem. But I'm the more awakened one. That one's done none of this work. None of it. So he's still stuck there. I'm I've grown. I understand. I forgive in some ways that most couldn't because I understand. I agreed. And the minute I met this person, um, I was in his presence, and the minute we eye to eye, I had a mule kick in my solar plexus. I've never met someone to where I had, oh, hit me so physical. And I knew there was something there I needed to explore physically. I didn't know what it was, what created that. I've never since had that feeling. Now I know it's a warning. It's you might want to rethink this. So, but like I said, I would not change anything in my life, despite the harm, despite the trauma. It all pushed me right where I needed to be. I'm grateful.
Now, but back then, my saying is that pain is the most real thing. It's the most real thing in the universe
Exactly.
until it ends. And once it ends, it's as if it never happened. This the most phenomenal thing that there is in the universe is this pain that persists. And then once it's faced fully, it just dissolves.
Yeah, but if you
And then
have
it's like it never
But
happened.
if you're involved with a group, a soul group that created this trauma, this harm, like my father had his grandparents, like I had him for a while doing that stuff, um, it takes a community of people to do it together is the best way. But everyone's path to get there takes a different trajectory. So you can't expect them to be on the same path at the same time, at the same way that you're expressing your needs to learn and shine your own soul.
The
Um,
point I was making about that was that it's how you go it's how you approach healing. And one of the best approaches is that there's nothing wrong with you.
exactly, that's
You know what
true.
I mean? And if you think there's something wrong with you, then you're going to have a really hard time healing.
Or the cancer could have been a soul contract. You wanted to explore this for some reason. You come in
That
here,
that could be too.
the AIDS, look, that whole thing with AIDS and the trajectory that that whole scenario of community suffered and went through, what a challenge that was for each of those patients that were ill, that suffered so greatly. And now we are in a place where you don't even, you have a medication that if you have AIDS, you can't give it to someone. It never goes away. They can't cure it totally, but now this new medication doesn't allow it to be a problem for your partner or partners, whatever you choose. So this is where, if you could see where the trajectory, it's all about love at the end.
Mhm.
It's all about love at the end. It's all about love. It's all love. And my perspective have gotten so stubborn about seeing anything different than that. Even with the political, thing going on, it's all love. And I'm just watching.
And it's particularly about self-love,
It's
Mhm.
all love.
because
There's
self-love
boundaries.
is like
Yours,
is
mine,
like the
ours,
bicycle that moves
they.
you along. You can love all this and that, and if you don't love yourself, you're not really going anywhere. It's that
You're not capable of
love
giving
for
them
self
love,
that
but you're
that
not
that
capable. You're not capable unless you love yourself first. You
and
can't,
it's the
you
same
can't.
thing with forgiveness too. A lot of people
Yes,
are
that's
just
true.
stuck on this forgiveness of
That's true.
them, but you forgive yourself fully, and then until there's no need to forgive anybody else because there's no charge inside you.
Yeah, that's key. No triggers, no charge. And
Yeah.
that's where you got to start digging again, 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 again until it's done. It is. And it
Yeah,
takes,
for anyone who uh comes and there's a trigger there, or for a circumstance and there's a trigger there, those triggers are our sign to say, okay, take a better look at this. Why is this such a trigger
Mhm.
for you? Uh, and that's where it has to be healed first with you.
Yeah,
And it may never be healed with them in your perception, but then our perception sometimes don't see everything
no, no, no.
that's going on. And so once we get past what we feel like is pointed at us,
I agree.
then, we're in such a better place. I know that's first thing I do. If I meet somebody or if I see a post on Facebook and it triggers something in me to immediately think something, I go, okay, Arla, what do you need to see? Is there something you need to release? What do you need to do? What does your soul need in this? It's pecking you on the shoulder saying, look, and listen. And then figure it out and let it go.
Mhm.
And I get triggered a lot. And I know I've got a lot of growing to do. The one thing I've managed is to not let my mouth shoot that bullet before I understand what that trigger was about that was pulled. So, but yeah, and triggers they're a positive because they help you look at something you need to look
Or
at.
even help someone understand you.
Yes,
When
very
that
much so.
start to express it, and it's important, and maybe they're needing to be part of that karmic circle because of soul contract.
Yep,
And
yep,
what a wonderful gift to be able to do that at that moment.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a marvelous place to be. And it's
It
such
is.
an honor to be here. And it's also hard because you see the planet dying. It's birthing pains, I know,
Yep,
but it's
yep.
still not gonna be the Earth that we know. It's changing.
It is changing. And as it changes and our vibrations change, then we become a part of that positive. That Kashima told me a long time ago. He said, humans, you have the ability to heal the world, but you also have the ability to destroy
Yeah.
the world.
Move.
Now, which is it? Which do you choose to do? And, you'd think, oh my gosh, that's such a heavy thing. No, it's changed with love.
Yeah.
Love of yourself, not that I'm special or anything
no.
else, but the love that is that knowing of who we really are.
It's true.
And I see so many people like that now. Oh my gosh, 14 years ago, you did not see
It's true.
all of this that's happening, all of these people opening up and understanding and just sharing so many wonderful things. I mean, 14 years ago, it was hard pressed to find something that put Sasquatch in a good light.
You're the first group
And
I came across that fills that need, and I'm very grateful to your group. I'm different today, and we've only been here 2 years. I did a lot of growth in that time.
well, there are some really, really good groups out there. We love our group because it's where, we feel we are supposed to be. When I came into this, I had posted in groups that were interesting. I'll just say that it was interesting. And I don't go to many of those groups. There's a few groups I do post in now that are borderline,
Yeah,
but I feel that I'm still supposed to share
I agree. I
some
agree.
things.
You
Um,
gotta, you
I
gotta, you gotta get the Trojan
Yeah,
horse in to make changes, to open their eyes and their heart.
yeah.
It sometimes takes a Trojan
Oh
horse to,
yeah.
and you're not coming in disguised. You're who you are.
Nope. I've always been me and always
Yeah.
told the same story. I haven't changed since I came into this world of the Bigfoot people and the people that are in this world. But all I can do is to tell what I've experienced and to speak my truth. And if my truth doesn't resonate with you, I'm okay with that too.
Or it
Uh,
triggers
yeah,
another into
yeah,
some nasty
yeah.
comments back.
You plant a lot of seeds with triggers. Uh, and
That's a good philosophy, actually.
yeah, you do. And it's not like I post anything to create a trigger for
No,
anything. Everything
no.
I post is done in love. But past that, I have no control over it, and I know you understand that. And so I'm planting seeds. And if that seed is a trigger for somebody, I want that seed to be full of love and peace, where it's going to so totally help them. I have no control over it. Once that seed is planted, that's how it is.
And it's like
And
healing. You do the same thing. What happens in that one special moment where things went, wow, this is awesome. And then when they go out in real life, it can change. So,
Mhm,
it's all about what's here and here.
yeah,
You can call it back in for a certain need. Maybe you don't know what's for. It's just you're not finished the lesson then.
right,
It's simple as that.
right.
So you do what you can do, and they're out in the real world being influenced by whatever, and there's no control or judgment about any of that. That's part of the lesson. And
Yes,
it's
it is.
packaged with a big red bow. It
Yep,
is.
it is. So that's awesome. That's just
Mm.
yeah. How lucky we are to have the availability of hearing so many people share their experiences and doing it with love, it just like it multiplies that wonderful energy when people are relating their stories and there's so much love in it. And I'm not talking about the love that most people think of as love. This is more. This is who you are. This is that whole being of you and knowing who you are. And we all know who we are. We just maybe haven't recognized it yet. But we will. I do believe we will.
I've made it my priority to find out. And the
Yeah.
only way you can know if those shoes are going to work for you and take you on that path down the road, climb that mountain or whatever, is trying them on. And
Oh,
sometimes
exactly.
if it doesn't work for you, put them on the donate those shoes for a needy person and get a pair that works better. And
Well,
that's what I've done.
that reminds me of course, everything reminds me of something Shima says, I think. But he had told me, do not judge as good or bad. Look at it, whatever it is. Is it a person? Is it something? Is it a situation? Whatever it is, don't judge it as good or bad. Ask yourself the question, am I compatible with it?
Yeah,
Is my energy and who I am compatible with that? And if it's not, just take yourself from it.
exactly. Exactly.
Take yourself from it. I added to that, I'm sending it peace and love.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm covering it in peace and love.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that just not going in and, oh, this is bad or whatever. Just ask yourself, are you compatible with it? Is your soul, does it totally resonate with this? And if it doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It just means that your being is not compatible with it. So
Yeah.
take
Well,
yourself
as a
from it.
medicine person, it's like taking pharmaceutical medicines or doctor prescribed or over the counter supplements, whatever you feel that you might benefit from. It's similar, if it tastes bad, doesn't mean it's not going to work, but you got,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
you got to look at the benefits, and if you're responding positively to experience, medicines, whatever it is in life, people, attitudes, whatever it is,
Yeah,
you can bow out gracefully and check the next door.
yeah, exactly. That's such a awesome analogy. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
knocked on a few doors. One, I spent a lot of money on a teacher, and the teacher ended up being um,
A
um,
crook.
no.
There's a lot
I
of that
don't
going
know.
on out there.
I don't want to say it, but
they taught you more than you paid for.
oh, it was awful. It was awful.
That's hard learning, and it
And
it
this is a well-known person, and has I had no idea, and I knew many people, and what he secretly did behind doors was awful. It's corrupt. More corrupt doesn't say the correct word. It's not deep enough. But so I won't read another book. I won't look at him. Send him with love on his way and cleanse my heart of any contamination that may have happened without me knowing.
so you looked at that
Yeah.
and you said, I'm not compatible with this at
No.
all.
Mm,
And so now you've taken yourself from it
yeah.
and the lessons that you learned. My teachers have been those who have just come into my life, my whole life. Um, one particular one, oh my gosh, I was so excited when they came into my life. And oh, it was a hard learning.
Oh,
but it was so wonderful. And I know my ancestor grandmothers said to me when I let it all go, they said, "What did you learn, Shining Star?"
oh, I got goosebumps.
I learned a lot of things I had no idea I needed to learn.
Yeah,
And so I honor that person
on some level.
for what
Mhm.
they taught me.
Yeah,
I don't honor them personally,
yeah,
but I honor what I learned from that experience. And Kashima says that we humans, we don't respect the air, we don't respect the water, we don't respect the earth, we don't respect each other. But the worst is we don't respect ourselves. Now, he didn't mean we have to respect those things. We have to be respectful of those things in how we interact with those things. And it's when we don't feel that respect for ourselves and be respectful to ourselves, and it's very respectful to take yourself from something. Doesn't matter what it is or who they were or anything else. I'm going to be respectful here of myself. And when I am in that space, I don't disrespect anybody else or
no,
anything else.
no, no.
So it's and that's a hard thing. So many people are trying to find that respect for themselves. They don't feel they have value. And I'm sure you've seen that through the
Yeah,
years
yeah.
when you've worked with people, that so much of the acting out that happens is because the person doesn't see their own value.
Absolutely. And we're teachers as well. We're not just healers or um, educators or any of that. We're all teachers.
And all students.
Yeah, there too. Absolutely.
So,
And I'm the biggest student of all because I gobble, 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 gobble. It's
Well, we're
I'm
really
still,
in exciting times. Like I gotta go back to this thing about reincarnation and past life regression. In basically 2 generations, the last 40 years, we went from being finite and mortal to infinite and immortal. And when you begin to walk and truly walk as being an immortal, then you have to honor that. And when you honor that is to look at yourself and say, if this is not working, I mean, there needs to be certain amount of righteous indignation. This shouldn't be happening to me because I'm an immortal being. I'm like, what is going on here? Who's walking through my house and spilling trash in? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like it's that kind of supreme self-respect for who you actually are is one of the components that you need for healing. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, this is that injustice, right, is one of the major cause of trauma. And you have to have your value, your self-value and your self-respect at such a level that not only will you extend that to other people, but you will not tolerate devaluation or injustice around your energy field at all.
healthy boundaries. Healthy
Yeah,
boundaries.
healthy
Love
boundaries.
on both sides. For them, go along your
yes,
way with love and peace, and then love and peace for yourself. It has to be split. The paths have to diverge, and you have to make it the decision because obviously that one's sleepwalking. They're not knowing they're toxic. They're not knowing that they're sending out nasty stuff and contamination and all that. And it's not your job to educate them unless they ask.
yeah,
That's the invite. You have to wait for the invite. They're not ready. Some won't ever be ready, and that's okay too.
yeah.
But healthy boundaries and love and peace, let the past diverge. And you sometimes have to reinforce that over and over because guess what? Your bright light is like the porch light and the moth. It's irresistible. So you're going to get all kinds of walks of life come into your circle. And you have to decide, not that everyone is disposable, that's not the communication, but they have certain responsibility in this life to make their path what they wish. Everyone has that capacity, and they choose that toxic one. So at that point, you're
Your
no longer
boundaries, like
compatible.
what you said about your boundaries are the tuning fork of the correct pitch. And when people come to you, it's your boundaries that have to be strong enough so that it repels the noise, the noise, the unpleasantness, the racket, which other people produce because they don't have the boundaries, or their boundaries are so violated that they were crushed.
But they're not
That's
aware.
why that's what the people who are healing are. Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're just stuck away somewhere. If you've done that vibrational work, then you set the standard, the tuning fork for hundreds of people,
Yeah,
sometimes
I've had to let
thousands.
go. I've had to let go friends who use phrases like "you should." There was always a "you should" for me, and I am a sentient being, soul to myself, SOLE, not SOUL, and I decide what I should or should not do, or change, or whatever her next phrase is, and gave her communication that I don't like that phrase, that I make my own decisions. And I know my path very well at this point, what's going to be good for me or not. And I no longer connect with her at all. I had to shut the door firmly. So, and peace and love, of course. Let her go on her journey. There's no judgment, just we weren't compatible. And that's okay. Does it make her right or wrong? Doesn't make me right or wrong. It's right or wrong for myself, but she was wanting me to satisfy her itch of me obeying her shoulds that she kept giving me. You should. And I don't. I have a trajectory I get guidance for. I have a higher guidance than she is, sitting with her feet on earth. I hear from a high area above my crown, and I'm given knowledge. I was told COVID was coming, and I was given guidance of what to prepare. And this was January, the first week of January of 2020. So I already knew it was coming. And my son died in January, and I told my husband a week before that he was going. I tell him ahead of time, because I said,
And
"Oh, I knew that
he
last
died from
week."
COVID or from other things.
Oh, my son died of something else.
Mm.
Yeah, but I didn't have any family members that passed by COVID. Thank goodness. My parents were already gone, number one, so it would have meant younger people. So, and we were fine. We were protected, obviously.
And that's a lot of what people call prophecy or other things. It's what I call a heads up.
I love it. I love the
It's not written in stone, but it's a heads up. This is
Mhm.
what is possible.
Yes.
And it's very probable if you don't do something to change this. And we have that ability
I worked with
to
it.
change that, and you were given that. And so you changed things, you did things in the manner that you were led to do.
Yep.
And at this point, we've got a whole lot of people out there saying this earth is going down the tube. I don't believe that. I
Well,
don't believe that it's going down the tube, because I see too many people that are rising up, that are coming forth, that are doing things. Yes, we have to do better. We do have to
the
do
way
better.
it's like a cell dividing is what Dolores mentioned, and I could see it actually happening. And the Bible talks about, you know, many will disappear off earth. There's a whole section of the Bible, the prophecies of, you know, the end of the world for the Bible talk. And what happens is those that haven't grown to that vibration of the new earth simply will not part of it. And it's going to have a different vibration than what's existing here. And the change is what gives the birthing process. It's
Oh,
uncomfortable.
yes.
It
Yeah.
changes. Mm-hmm.
And this 3D, like you said, this is a learning place.
It's
When
going
we
to
came,
5D. It'll be 5.
yes, but I'm talking about where we're at right now.
Yeah, yeah.
The earth is in a 3D form for
Yes.
learning. Now, she
Exactly.
doesn't always herself reside in 3D, but she gives us a place of 3D,
Yes.
an energetic place that helps us to learn so that we can ace the school, graduate, whatever you want to say. And then that vibrational change
Yes.
then rises us to what we're going to, this
Exactly.
new earth.
Exactly.
She is perfect in the way she reacts to everything, in the sense that we are in school in
Yeah, we
3D.
are. A master
We
school.
are, yeah, we are
Yeah.
in learning, and there is so much to learn and so much to share. And when you learn something, it is your responsibility to share it.
Yeah.
When you are given something, it is the responsibility of the person who was given that to share it,
Yes.
because that's how we grow and, we learn.
Exactly.
So it's, yeah, this whole time, I know, I know many of my past lifetimes as well. And I go back to them and look at what was going on. And, I've been given a choice many times. Are you going to continue on as human on the earth? And yeah, because my soul wants to be a part of this growing,
Yeah. Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't miss out on it for anything.
I agree. I agree completely. And watching from the sidelines is not my thing either. That's why I jumped into services. I offer so many. And but the most important thing I like about Dolores Cannon's work is that I've done the card reading thing, I've done the Reiki thing, I've done the healing thing, and then the client, despite mentoring and encouraging to change those thought processes that create the cancer to begin with, or whatever it was, and then teaching they have responsibility for themselves, and it will happen if you change the programming.
Yep.
And then it gives them empowerment for their own self, no longer reliant on me.
Yes.
I'm not the sole keeper of who they are and shouldn't be. I'm only a temporary advisor, and it should be, because the power has to go back to their life as themselves, and gives them some work to do so that they can themselves they do the healing.
Yes. Yep. Because that's where it has to be done. I mean,
Yes.
the healing is done by the person themselves. I mean, you help facilitate what's going
Yes.
on. I know when I have people, they come to me and they have questions and stuff. I point blank never just answer their questions. We
Yeah.
have to talk about those questions. And what I want them to do is to find their answers.
Yes.
So, I'm here in this, I'm listening. And yes, I can interject something, but
Yes.
what I want to see is that person find those answers and have that healing that they did.
And that's
And
exactly what her regressive work does, because no
Yes.
longer does it come from my mouth. I use their questions. So these
Yeah.
are their inventions and their needs of digging.
Yes.
And that's important to dig and to see what treasures you can find and bring them up and polish them up. But it's from their own words, their own mouth come their own truths.
Yes.
No
Yes.
longer am I the oracle. And that
Yes.
is the most powerful thing on the planet to do for yourself, is to find your own voice
Oh, yes.
and your own truths that come out of the session. That is my joy. That is my
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah. I had a good basis for that growing up as well, because, I was always taught, just like my grandmother, what she said to me when I saw, the first one, the young Bigfoot person juvenile, was when I talked to her, it was her answer. What do you think it was? She didn't tell me what I had to think I saw.
I know it makes you question reality.
Yeah.
Way.
And so I got to think about it, and I was pretty much raised like that, that you can think for yourself. Though those answers are there. And
Yes.
then many years later, the ancestor grandmothers had told me, you have all the answers
Yeah.
within you. All you got to do is find the questions. And those answers are right there waiting for you. And sometimes you don't even have to ask the question, they just pop up.
Yep. Yep.
And they're in everybody. Everybody has that, which is just such an awesome thing to know, that
Never
what
too
you
late.
need. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never too late.
No,
Never too.
no, no. I still, have, maybe I'll have a question, and I'll ask the grandmothers, and they're very good at discussing me in front of me, and then one of them will say, well, what do you think, Shining Star? How
Oh,
do you feel about this? And I have gone through some things and with them, and watched them discussing me and saying, she'll get it. She'll get it. Give her time. Give her time. All this time I'm going through this, and I'm hearing these two ancient ancestor grandmothers talk about me. And, so it's like, okay, grandmothers. And, it will come. That answer will come. And I am always thankful, for those. And I love to see other people, if I'm working with them, find an answer that they've been looking for.
Mm.
Not because I told them what the answer was, but I was there, to be a part of them finding that answer. To me, that is so much more than if I'd given
Exactly.
the answer.
Yeah, I put my cards away permanently. I'll use them for myself here and there,
Yeah,
just to open a door, play with it a little if I feel a
yeah,
little resistance of it coming freely.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
just
for yourself. And that I haven't read cards in, oh my gosh, several years. And I've got all kinds of decks, but occasionally I'll be going through something and I'll pick a deck out and pull a card, and so sometimes that's just exactly what I needed to do.
it's listening to your
So
guidance. That was guidance. And it's perfect. Always perfect. And maybe not this time, but you got to keep trying. Keep trying. There's some resistance within you or around the area of what you're trying to find. It's dug a little deeper. You just got to keep trying.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's the key, is not giving up that you do have the answer, and it is there, and it will come.
Yeah.
And I know for me, the times when I've been in that situation and I couldn't, get an answer, I would just, okay, I know it's there. I'm just going to sit with it. And then maybe it would pop into my head driving down the road or doing something else, and there was what I needed to see, or I was heard a commercial on TV and somebody used a word that was, triggered. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
that's what that was about.
Yeah.
And, I love that. And everybody has that within them.
Yeah. And journaling helps.
Yes.
You start to get confused threads going through your head and it seems related, but maybe not. Maybe it's touching on maybe three things instead of the one. And it's so easy to put them in words and then just open yourself and just write. Not trying to structure the message. And next thing you know, there's your answer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's one of the most interesting things to do is just sit down and open yourself up and open your heart and then just start writing. And there's no rhyme or reason to what you're doing, but then you go back and you read it and there it is.
Yep.
And I wrote it, you
Yes, you
know.
did.
Oh,
And date it, because then next thing you know, it's a stair step. It's a stair step
yes.
to a whole story. You didn't
Oh,
realize
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
whole story evolving, being birthed. That's fun. A new adventure happened and it was so quiet.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You. This has been fun. It's just been a good discussion of all of us. I see Beans, his mind is just turning and turning and turning.
Well, everything's has this great value to it. When you end somebody's pain or when you end your own pain, there's a that is like the compass of life. Just goes zip right to north. And when you heal your own pain or you resolve your own suffering, that's just such a there's just such a pointer to the you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
You just got to bounce things off the wall, off of someone, off of a book, off of journaling, of pulling a card and seeing what comes up. It's really kind of fun being a detective, a sleuth, and figuring out what the message is. And then implementing it. That's the hardest thing is I'm too busy. I have so many things to do. I'm responsible for so much. And you don't have time for yourself.
Yeah. And that's key.
Hmm.
That's, definitely key. I mean, my life is pretty busy during the daytime, just the normal things of life that go on.
Hmm.
And, I am blessed to be able to go to the woods and spend my nights there in the tent when it's not a sauna. But, that's my place to go. Now, I'm not alone there by any stretch of the imagination, but I am in a space that is totally around me as the space where I can hear. And there's nothing that's interfering with me hearing, no phone, no TV, no other people. I'm out there. And the ones who are going to talk to me out there, I need to hear what they're saying.
I agree.
So yeah, it's not an invasion at all.
No. No, I was so happy to see that fingerprint. The handprint's still up there. There's nothing that
That's
could have done that but his hand.
oh no. And
Nothing
it
would have done that.
it's just so much like what they do when, our hearts open. Now, for someone who is not in the place that you are, that has no knowledge except what they've watched off of YouTube, to see something like that would be freaking them out.
Do you know what he did after I saw him walk past that door, the first introduction? Is I I sat out on the porch on a bench right by that door, and I'm trying to figure it out. What did I see? What is this? What did I see? Is it something dark? Is it something light? What did I see? The next thing that happened across the way, and it's full dense woods, a cabin here, a cabin there, but this lot was empty. And he took and tree knocked 3 times. He tree knocked 3 times. And then he came closer to my house, but stayed on the same side. And there was not a breeze in the air. And he shook the heck out of a big bush, a sapling. Those leaves are just flying all over the place. He let me know it was real.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And you already knew it was real, but you
Yeah.
got a validation that this is something physical here
Yeah.
and past physical.
Yeah.
And that's the key right there, is knowing that they are physical, but they are so much more than just
I'm
that.
honored and thrilled. Now I'm like a horse at the racing gate. Just lift the gate, all right? And we'll start that. I'm just so excited. Just lift that gate and let that horse go.
That's awesome. You're on such, your journey's been a long journey. You've had an extended journey this time, but this now has just totally elevated you
Absolutely.
vibrationally, in such a special way, and that they are so good at that
I agree. I
So
agree.
the
and so
Sasquatch are like,
willing.
I'm sorry, the Sasquatch are
Go
like
ahead.
the Sasquatch are like on the team Inside Out. The team Inside Out would be the angelic people because they're the ones who are taking everybody to these past life regressions and giving us all this wonderful visions of what it's like in the other side. So the angelic community and then the human healers are all on team Inside Out because really all healing happens from the inside out.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
there's the Star Nations and the Sasquatch people that when you get into any one of those things, you're going to be in that vibration with all
Yeah,
of them, all of
yeah,
Oh,
them.
wow. Oh,
You
wow.
know,
Got goosebumps.
you know what I
Thank you,
mean?
Michael. That was
So
awesome.
the sky people can help you. The angelic realms are
yeah,
there helping you,
yeah.
and Sasquatch are in there, just like who's that guy who's in front of the band and he's swinging his little wands around? Was the conductor? The
Conductor.
Sasquatch are like conducting the whole thing, a little bit more, you know.
Well,
So it's a
Yeah,
good
I
place
have
to
another
be.
story for another time and my first ET experience. It was physical. I won't
Wow.
that would be the next if you would like to have me back. I'm inviting myself back. I'm having so much fun.
You come back anytime. We do a lot of open mics, so you
yeah.
can come back anytime if
Oh, whatever you want to schedule. I'd leave room for some
Right.
others. But no, this has been fun and healing for myself as well. And validation's always good for that. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
But on the
Thank
other
you.
hand, the need is really big. I wanted to fit this in there. We have this thing in the world. We have this thing in the United States called a suicide rate.
Yeah,
And the suicide rate really points to one thing, and that is these people are suffering to the point where their life is not worth living. So the suffering is real. And
I
I,
agree.
I'm kind of big on the ACEs community. You know the ACEs community? You've heard of it? Yeah.
No.
Adverse childhood experiences.
Oh, that sounds not awesome. Like an awesome group.
Yeah, well, what they found out is that there's ACEs science and there's ACEs awareness, there's trauma informed communities, and it's actually happening around the United States where they're changing the government and they're changing the school systems. And there's a 10 question test that you can take to get your ACEs score. But they found out that It's right around 64 to 66% of everybody has enough ACEs, have ACEs, right? Adverse childhood experiences. And that's enough if just one ACE, because it could be a bad one. If you have enough with one ACEs, that you're going to have health outcomes,
Yep.
later in life.
Yep.
So even though something happened to you with 4, 5, and 6, when you're 45 to 55 to 65, somewhere in there you're going to get a disease. And they 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 calculated out, and they said that with this many ACEs, you get you get 10 years loss of life. And if you add up the 10 years loss of life times 200 and whatever it is, 10 million people, that comes to 2,609,460,000 years loss of life.
That's
In every,
horrible.
and that's what's going on right now in America. This topic is huge. It's just gigantic.
Mm.
That's more people have lost years of their life than all the wars since World War II, which
Mm.
is 30 million people dying. And if you take 30 million people and you say 50 years of life for everybody who dies in a war, that's still only 1 billion. We're talking 2,609,000,000. That's just a huge number. So the need is there. The need is there. Even though most people have childhood adversity or trauma, they hide. And it's a big
Oh
deal
yeah.
because
Oh
they
yeah.
hide. They want to be normal.
Absolutely.
They don't want to stand up. They don't want to have anything drawn to them. They don't want to have any, they don't want to ask for help. They just want to be left alone and live their little desperate lives. So Sasquatch know about this. Angelic people know about this. The people who are deep into healing know about this. The shamans know about this. The shamans know how to heal.
Oh, there's soul retrieval for this.
The
For
soul
the
retrieval,
shamans.
all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
And
need
and
it. We
and
need it all. The need
there's
now is huge because we talk about transforming the earth. Earth's going to do this. The earth's not going to do very much until the rate of suffering comes down to something manageable. It's not even. It's past 50-50 now. It's past 50%.
wow.
There's 200. There's 210 million people in the United States. That's
As in,
2/3 of people
um,
who are on psychosomatic drugs, psychoactive drugs, right? For depression, anxiety, stress, and pain. Like pain from stuff like fibromyalgia and stuff like that. And they're not just on one drug; they're on multiple drugs, right? So you got 65% of the people in the United States taking drugs for the suffering that was caused, and they don't even know what it is. You know what I mean? The doctors tell them, "Oh, you've got your brain chemistry is imbalanced."
what creates chemicals and the medications are
Mm.
here to
No, no,
affect.
the people who've done the ACE of science know exactly what's going on.
Yes, exactly.
It's
But
the
each
it's the
emotion
fight or
has,
flight it's the fight or flight response that's continued over a whole
oh, that's
lifetime.
horrible.
And there's 45 compounds that happen that slow down your heart, shut off your digestive system, shut off your immune system, increase your heart rate, all these kind of things, right? And you do that over the course of your life, and you're going to get the cancer, the heart disease, the fibromyalgia, all that stuff comes from that. So it's a huge deal, and I think the way the world's going to change is by people healing a little bit at a time. And right now it's still occulted. It's still not seen. It's still hidden. That should be big news for everybody, but it's not.
I
It's
never heard of,
hidden.
I knew about the suicide issues. I have it in my family as well. Um, it's not easy to, and
No, you
second,
think, look,
and
look,
the
look,
next,
when they did this for women, it was 20, I think 21% or 24% of all the women by the year 18 had either sexual intercourse or had been molested, and
exactly.
17% for the boys, right? I think it was 21, 17, something like that. But it ended up being like 22 2% of the population, almost a quarter of the population, has had sexual problems, sexual issues before they're 18. It's a
Oh,
huge deal. And we don't hear about that because
no.
people who've been sexually traumatized zip it up. They don't say, "Oh, hey, how are you? I've been sexually abused." They don't say that. They try to hide, they try to fit in. The biggest thing that these people feel is they want to be normal. They just want to be normal. They just want to be left alone. They just want the pain to end. And that's where all the addiction comes from and all the other kind of issues just come from. So it's a big deal. And I'm saying that Sasquatch are right on top of it. There's a
Yes, they
lot of
are.
people, there's a
Oh,
lot
that's
of people
awesome.
who are connected to Sasquatch because they are healers, because they're Reiki healers, because they're
Gives me
shamans.
another path. Thank you, Michael, to think about and to investigate. I would love more information.
What on the ACEs thing?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I can send you some stuff.
Hmm. I've been looking for volunteer opportunities that might work for me in the community. And I'm retired, and COVID kind of slowed things down for me for doing sessions and such. People still aren't in gear yet.
There's another one that you might be uh good at, and that's the Mace energy method. You ever
What
heard of
is it?
that one? The Mace energy method.
I don't know about that one.
What it is it's a real mild form of hypnosis,
Uh-huh.
and you go through a person's life and you ask them what was your deepest pain, and then you
Oh,
bring up in your imagination an image of what that pain was. And then the therapist says, now let it dissolve. And then when it dissolves fully, then you go to the next one. And in a couple of hours, they do your whole life, past life, and everything, because it's held in the repeated pattern is held
yes.
in your mind as an image and as a feeling. But anytime you disrupt the image, the feeling, or the
Mhm.
words, it's going to dissolve the whole thing. Yeah,
That
that's
sounds
pretty effective.
interesting. Can you send me
Yeah,
that too? And I'll see what I can do with that as well. That sounds awesome.
yeah.
It sounds like a
Yeah.
good fit.
It is a good fit. What it is, instead of having to do a past life regression, put them deep, deep, deep in somnambulistic
Is
states,
there a certification
it's
program for it?
mild, huh?
Is there a certification program
Yeah,
for
there's a
it?
certification.
Yeah,
There's a whole
that's what I
class you
would
can
be
take.
interested in, so that I could do it and have validity. People
Yeah,
want certificates and all.
I don't
That
think
would
it's
be.
that hard. I don't think that's hard. I don't think it's that hard to learn because
Oh, I'm not worried about
you already
learning.
have massive.
I'm not worried about learning. It's
Yeah,
it's having the certificates so that I can be a volunteer, and be immersed in the patient care.
yeah. I'm sorry to talk about this, but I'm so glad we got a chance because people need it. The American Indians have a huge problem with this. They're the only population whose population is higher than the Africans and Americans and the Asians is the First Nations people, and because they still have some, they only stopped taking kids away from they stopped taking kids away from the Indians in 1969.
They have huge lineage of generational trauma.
Yeah, it's
That is a
huge.
really, I mean, it's like the Jewish community too. Huge trauma. I can't even, I'm an empath, so I feel this stuff
So
physically.
it's a big issue, and the
Hmm.
Sasquatch are on top of it. You hear
They are.
people talk when you hear
That's
people
neat.
talk about
That
their
is so cool.
experience with Sasquatch, it's very much along the lines of uh, of a healing experience, a life transforming experience, because it's like a near death experience because they're opened up to this kind of unconditional love. They have this uh, something that goes on inside of humans, and it's when they get connected
That's
to
so
Sasquatch because they're
cool.
high vibrational beings. It's like
Yes,
having
they
an
are.
angel talking to you, like having an angel hanging out in your yard or something.
Wow. Well,
Uh,
this is
yeah.
amazing.
And
Thank.
Michael, you were supposed to bring that up
Hmm. Yeah, it resonates.
because Lindsay
Actually,
needed that
yes, I did.
information.
I've been looking for a volunteer thing. I was thinking, well, I could be a volunteer grandma. I can do that. And there's a lot of people that don't have family here. They moved away from that part of DC out here, and just to have, coloring books with them and making costumes out of paper bags or whatever. So, but I haven't found a place that I could catapult off of. I'm a stranger, looking to play with children. That looks kind of suspicious today.
Well, if you have a good method to help people with their childhood issues, if you have a good, clean, positive working method, that's going to come in demand in the next generation, the next 20 years, like you've never seen before, because the whole state of
It's already
California,
here. It's
the
already
whole
here.
the whole
Yeah.
state of California is ACEs aware. And what ACEs aware means is the kids know what the ACE score is in school, all the way through school. The doctors know, the police know, the judicial
Wow.
system knows. Everybody knows what's going on with that, and everybody can move accordingly, according to the level of pain that the person is going through. Huge transformations are coming on that way. And then there's like I think 4 or 5 states that have legislation, because you got to know, you know what I mean? It's like those people who the 210 million people, they need to know that it's not brain imbalance. It's
Right.
leftover energy
Oh,
from
get
your
some more sleep.
childhood.
You'll be better in the morning, right?
Yeah. This didn't work out for you. Here, take this other drug. You
Yeah.
got, oh,
It's
you've
not gonna
got,
fix
you've
anything.
got imbalanced brain chemistry, and you're going to have that for the rest of your life. So you're going to have to take these drugs for the rest of your life. They're actually telling people that now. You know
Well,
what
my
I'm saying?
husband's a stroke survivor. We've already been through some of this. It changed his thinking pattern to more paranoia, to all kinds of stuff that's not reality. So yeah, I'm working with this at home too.
Mhm. Good.
It
This has
affects
been a good
everybody.
show.
It affects
Oh, thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
With
It's been a
66,
good
that's
show
like
for me as
66
well.
percent of the politicians, of the police, of the doctors, of the Lord, everybody's out there suffering and pretending like they're not.
Yep. Yeah.
You don't
You got to
pretend
put a
like you're
good face
depressed.
on. Yep.
You don't pretend like you're depressed. You
Mm.
pretend like you're okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hmm. Hmm.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you. It's been a wonderful gift. Thank you so much.
Well, maybe we should roll it out, roll it up. What do you think?
I think it's been good.
Thank you.
It's
Oh
been
yeah.
really good.
For me as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh, Lindsay, I felt that you just have this incredible power, this incredible presence that you know even more than you could say. I don't think you could actually speak with your mouth all the things that you know.
I know a lot.
Arla has a problem with that all the time.
Yeah.
But you're a special person. I'm really glad we got a chance to showcase you and talk to you and give you a voice.
Thank you. It's been the biggest gift. Your group. Complete. It just opened so much that I needed. Whoops. Sorry. Whoops. My phone rang. I turned it off. Um, it's it's opened so much of, I mean, I got into a plateau, and that's not a comfortable place for me. I gotta keep learning, gotta keep growing. The growing is the most important. And being the light I was meant to be. And just being sitting anywhere in my home, I send it out. And it's a planetary thing. So I've done a lot of that just to support Earth and everything on it. And this sounds amazing. It fits right in. Thank you, Michael.
Good.
Just send me the links and how to help, and I will put it into action.
I think you're doing really good work. The only problem with the QHHT, quantum healing, what is it? How do you
Quantum
say it?
healing hypnosis technique. It used to be therapy, but she had to change it because she didn't have the credentials
Yeah,
as a
so
physician for
technique.
therapy.
The only issue that I have with that is almost always you have to have somebody in your house. You have to have them there in person to person. It's
I
very
do it
good.
by video now.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
you've
took a
got to take it
second
to the next
class.
level. That's really good.
Yeah, I don't have Zoom, I have Skype. It's free. So that way I'm not throwing out money out every month if I don't have a client. And Skype doesn't have a
Well, Zoom is actually free if you only have two people.
but it's like $15 a month.
No, Zoom is free if you just used for two people.
I have it for free to use, but I don't use it for others. I use Skype. It's free and it has no time limit. That's the key. I've had some sessions go 6, 8 hours. If they're here and it's operating on a high vibration,
Yeah,
sometimes it goes for
Skype's
a long
the
time.
whole workhorse from way back.
Hmm.
Well,
So
I hope you get people to you get more traffic and if
I'm in a
you want to
country
throw your
setting.
shingle out there in on our little Facebook group, you could just advertise, say if anybody wants this, and
Well,
send them a link or something or a
a
phone
lot
number.
of my a lot of my Facebook group are QHHT practitioners. There were 300 in my class, and we were the last class before Dolores passed her transition. So it was fabulous. She died that next April. We were there in October, I believe. And it was her last class and it was dynamic. It was fabulous. I'm so glad I learned from her. It's not the same with her gone, nowhere close. Her energy carried us all. She was a very powerful woman, and she was a very exceptionally high vibration woman.
Well,
And
so are
she had,
you.
with her visiting my sessions, helping the client and me, is a lot more than I would have ever asked of her. So she's still working.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I talk to her a lot actually still, and not an unhealthy connection. Just very grateful because her just all the things I've done, hers did me the most, most growth. And I'd always believed in reincarnation. That wasn't an issue. It's just how she carried herself. She's like you. She knows that road so well. She stands so solidly in it. And just amazing.
A good modality. There's no question about
It
it.
is the best there is, and there be no substitute. The BQH was actually developed by her right-hand person. Her daughter took over the company and fired everyone, including that right-hand person. So the right-hand person decided, this is the digital age, guys. You've tied our hands. It's COVID. What are we going to do for people? How can we do for people with these restraints? So she filled in the gaps with some administrative stuff and giving permission to do it by video. So that's why a lot of us have got both QHHT and BQH so that we can do it by video. And hopefully Dolores looks the other way and understands why we have to. COVID's made it so people still aren't leaving their homes. It's still a fearful environment for them to leave the house. They've become trapped. I moved to a resort area and everybody was already here from my area that I moved from. They were looking to get away from their prisons, their COVID prisons, their houses, their apartments, their condos, to something different. That's what pushed the housing market, not only here, but all across the United States and abroad. It worked the same for everywhere. Everybody wanted to get rid of their COVID prisons.
I never thought of that. You might be right.
Yep. So I'm a lot less populated here. So the video helps. And I have had clients here, and I'm pleased to see them. And I'm make time for them as needed, and being retired makes that happen. And I supplement it with my creative activities. I have a workshop down in the basement that just got finished. It took a while to get it done. So now I could put my equipment down there and do my artwork and my metalsmithing and drawing art. I'm an old master of technique oil painter too. So just making the world more beautiful, not only with your heart, but with your mind and your talent, whatever it is. Put it out there.
Well, thank you so much for giving us your time. It's very generous of you.
Oh, I'm happy. Thank you guys for being the group you are that came at such a good time for me of support, love. I think the big post I just put the not too long ago about me stepping into my weirdness and giving reasons why, and the group was so supportive, and here I am in all my weirdness. I'm owning it, and I feel comfortable with it, and the group was so receiving of it, and I thank everyone for that. I found a home. That's what I told Arla.
Yeah.
I said, I found a home, and all the modalities other than Dolores, this hit just about the same level for me. I went, wow.
Oh,
And now
wow,
I know
that's impressive.
how to work with these forest people. Now I know what to expect. And not that each relationship's always different, but what's expected from me, how can I give back to them? And I do have some tools to help them too.
Well, that's a really good place to be. Ask not what you can do for what the Sasquatch can do for you. Ask what you can do for Sasquatch. That's why pork and beans exists, because it's just, to be touched and shown love, you know, for year upon year upon year. It kind of makes you want to give back for sure.
It does. It just instills in you the want to share
Yeah.
that they've given you.
Yes.
You can't at some point, if your heart's open, you can't help but share
I
this that
die
they
otherwise.
bring.
I die otherwise inside. If I can't
Yeah,
teach,
yeah,
I can't benefit, I can't connect and put a spark and help it grow for
yeah.
someone. I've done my work on earth. It's time to go.
Let's do this again. Just a little different, maybe.
You know what I mean?
I do.
I've served my purpose. Let's
I
go for the
do.
next round, That's reincarnation,
That
Yogis
is.
yogis supposedly leave their body on in intention. They leave. It's not
Yeah,
waiting for it to go. They
yeah.
they go. And so if it ever comes to that point, I'm done here. Well, let's see what that next life is going to give me.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
suicide. It's just given
No, it's
permission.
yeah,
Given permission. It's time. The path is done. I've done all I can do. What else can you do? Sit
yeah.
there and vegetate? But that Michael gave me some resources I'm going to check into, and I'm going to start diving in deep. The closest thing
Awesome.
I found that would make me happy was there was a um a group of people for veterans for PTSD and such. They have a stable, and they take veteran volunteers, and they take and the horses they get to ride, they get to groom, the horses are amazingly intuitive.
They are.
And I'm not a veteran. I'm a veteran daughter, 2 world wars, World War II and Korea. So I put in some time. And maybe they take a volunteer that wasn't a veteran and give up my time. But I don't want to take from the veterans' experience either. So I haven't approached them. And I think this sounds better actually.
Well, we will be looking forward to see what progresses from these little seeds that Michael planted today.
Yes. And it would never have happened if it hadn't been for
Nope,
Esre
nope.
sending it to you guys. I wouldn't have found you. Pork and beans? What's that got to do with Sasquatch? I would have never found it.
Uh,
We don't have anything to do with Sasquatch, really. We're just lucky to be here.
I
Yeah.
would have never found you guys.
How did you find us?
Azure.
Oh, awesome.
She lives in she's not far from me. I've never met her in person, but the shaman connection
Yeah.
works. And
Hmm.
I knew she was in Front Royal. So right after my experience, I contacted her on Facebook. She is a friend of mine on Facebook. And I said, I have had an experience with Sasquatch. And she said, you've got to get involved with pork and beans. What the heck has that got to do with Sasquatch?
Yay, that's right.
So I'm here for her because of her, and I'm watching her being amazing too.
Yeah.
Her group and her amethyst center that she's created.
Yes.
I've not had the chance. We've been so busy with renovations here, and we've been contractor imprisoned in our house. When they're going to come, you got to be home.
Yes, you do.
It's been
That
2 years of this, so we're ending soon. And then I get my wings and off I go wherever it means. And so great timing.
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm wiggly. Do you see how wiggly I am? You giggle, I wiggle.
Uh
Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
Say
Michael.
goodbye to
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you all for being here. And don't forget to look for this on Michael Harrell's YouTube channel,
Oh yeah, I got a
'cause
YouTube
it'll
channel.
be there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.